Guys here. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile for the new Genesis boss unit, which is Minerva, as you can see here, from the new BT-14 Brilliant Strike, which just came out. So just heading right into it, I run as my starter, Battle Maiden, Ameno Ho Akari. And basically what she is she comes out front runner, forerunner, and when she boosts a grade 3 Genesis, you can soul charge 1. And the reason that I run her over what's really popular is the grade 3 Searcher, is that there's a lot of counterblast in this deck, and I really can't waste a counterblast on that. Plus, she's a booster that I can keep out, and generally, I could choose to soul charge her something with her or not, and just kind of let it go. So moving on there. Onto my triggers, I run about 12 crits. And the reason I do this is that there's a lot of plussing in this deck. And also, having 10k shields is really awesome. But mainly there's a lot of plussing, and of course Minerva's stand effect, crits just give you full advantage of that. And because of all the pluses you get, missing out on the draw power really isn't a big loss. So generally you're not in a bad position if you don't draw a lot. Well, if you don't hit draws, basically. And of course, 4 heals. And that's pretty standard stuff for there. Moving on to my grade 1s, I run about 3 perfect shields. The reason I run 3 is that even though this deck pluses a lot, I think a lot of the pluses are more on the field, in a sense, than in your hand. Now, there are pluses in the hand, but just 3 of these, because I don't want to clutter up my hand too much or have, lose too many cards in my hand. Then I run 1 for the new Quintet Wall. It's a Counterblast 1. I normally would do 2/2, which I really like for most deck builds. Just going here on out. At least the ones that don't use a lot of Counterblast. 2/2 is, I think, the preferred ratio. So I run 1 Quintet, which is pretty useful with another card, which I'll show you guys in a second here. Let's just go right into that. Applewitch Cider, and what she does is when you call her to guard circle, I run 2 of her, but when you call her to guard circle, any other Genesis cards that you call to guard, it's put into soul instead of the drop zone. So it's just for that battle, but in general, you would play her and Quintet, and then you could put all those cards back into your soul, and it just fills up your soul really fast. And she's useful with a few other cards like the grade 3s or something if you need to cross ride and so on. So she's pretty awesome for that. But I only want to run 2 of her because she's not that useful otherwise. Because you want to save her, meaning she's a kind of a dead card early on in the game unless you really need to soul charge something. Then of course I run 3 Witch of Cats, Guman. And the reason I run her is that most people like the other unit that's like boosting, I believe, and you get soul charge 1 for each boost or on hit or something like that. But she's pretty simple. I play her, I get 1 in soul. It's pretty straightforward, and that's really what I'm needing out of her. So she's pretty straightforward, and I know what I'm getting. Whereas the other ones, I may not want that to be when I attack and all that. And I don't really run stands, so I will be attacking the Vanguard first. Then I run 3 Witch of Frogs, Melissa, and Melissa's one of the cards that gives you the pluses in this deck. She's basically the card that you want to ride, and when she gets soul blasted, you can counterblast 1 and put her basically on the field, so she gets you a booster, which is pretty awesome for a counterblast 1. A lot of free pluses with that. Then I run 2 Ordain Owls. This is one of the new units. And what it is that he's a 6k booster, but you can shuffle back a grade 3 Regalia. Well, not shuffle back, put it at the bottom of your deck, and you could choose Regalia to get plus 5k. So he's one of those 11k boosters, but not a Soul Blast booster. He's just put it back in your deck, but give anything boost. So if you have, like, say, Minerva on the right here, you can actually give it 5k and make it swing for about 22 or so with this as a booster. So it's pretty useful for pushing those columns, or the side columns for game and all that, your end game. So, or for that just extra push to get rid of your cards in your opponent's hand. Then for level 2s or grade 2s, I run for Goddess of Trees Jupiter. It's a Regalia, 12k attacker. It's I mean, she's pretty decent. My big gripe with her, though, is that she was reprinted as a regular rare in BT14, which is kind of stupid because these, the 12K attackers are sort of worth money. So, one of the things about them was that you could get them from the trial deck, and they made the trial deck have a lot more value, but, whatever Bushiroad wants to do, it's their game, so on. Second grade 2, I run 4 Witch of Ravens, and she's basically like the Witch of Frogs, whereas when she's Soul Blasted, Counter Blast 1, put her on the field. So she's pretty decent for an extra attacker, and what you want to do is with all the soul charging, you're probably going to get 1 or 2 in the soul, and it's an extra column. Rarely will I ever call columns until near the end of the game. Generally, I like to just kind of get free columns from soul blasting. She's pretty good for that. Just Counter Blast 1 for a +1 basically, and it's very interesting there. And then I have 3 Witch of Brave Scrappa, and her thing there is that when you soul blast her, you get soul charge 2. She's my preferred ride over the Witch of Ravens, mainly because with her you can soul charge this. You might also get unlucky soul charge triggers, so this kind of want to think about that. But a lot of the times I've seen that I have a choice between these two, but I'll always take her because I never know when I need the extra soul early on. Because later on in the game, of course, when you drag it on, the soul's not really a problem, but you don't want to be decking out either. And that's also a little warning with those of you who are trying to think of using quintet walls. They will deck you out if you use too many or if you use them kind of recklessly. So keep that in mind. So moving on to the grade 3s, I run 4 Regalia Wisdom Angelica, and she is the new, break ride for Genesis from the trial deck. And her ability is when, Genesis rides over it, Soul Blast 3 and draw 2 cards, Vanguard gets plus 10k. She's pretty good. Basically a +1. Because she breaks even for one of the cards, and the other one is an extra card. But she also gives, when she attacks, Soul Charge 1 and get +1k. Now +1k is whatever, but she swings 12k on Vanguard and lets you Soul Charge another card. So with the booster, the starter girl, you will actually be able to Soul Charge 2 with each of her attacks, which is awesome. So with that said, moving on to our final card, and of course the ace of the deck. That is 4 Omniscience Regalia Omniscience Regalia Minerva. Apologize if I pronounced that wrong. So, let's see, SP here. She's basically the standing Vanguard for Genesis. She's a lot better than what I had originally anticipated. If any of you guys watched the team tournament game, you see one of my matches with her, and through testing, this has been the deck's been performing really, really well. I don't really lose too many decks. Haven't really fought Nouvelle though, but I believe most decks have trouble with Nouvelle anyway. Her ability though will be Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 3, discard 3 Regalias, or Genesis regular, from hand, and at the end of the battle this attacks, stand it, and give it plus 5k. Can't use the ability for the rest of the turn, of course. So she has a 13k body most of the time, because even if you don't break ride, it's a soul charging clan, so you're going to get the break ride pretty easily. So she's 13k body most of the time, and the stand basically gives her another trigger when you stand it. Most people will take the first hit, and then when they know you're going to stand it, and then just perfect shield the second hit. So with that, you usually want to put your triggers onto your side. Of course, this is with most standing Vanguards. You want to put them to your side columns, so your side columns can swing big, unless you can go for a game, which I tend to do a lot, and that's one of the things with to fight Link Joker off, is that you have a standing Vanguard, and they give you a 2 to pass. You go for it and try to get it, which I seem to get a lot with the double crits and all that. So with that said, Minerva is a pretty decent card. She technically is a -1. Well, yeah, technically a -1 whenever you use her ability. So, because you're losing 3 cards and only gaining 2, and yeah. But I think in the future, her card value, she was pretty crazy. She came out like 50, but I think she's stabilizing about 30, 25 now. Her future card value will probably still stabilize around 20, just kind of my opinion there. Mainly because of Tony Taka's art here, and he does a really good job with her. The thing with that, though, is that even when, Yggdrasil comes out, she'll still be pretty decent. Just Limit Break in general at that point won't be as good. So, in general, this deck's been doing pretty well. Most matchups, I'm surprised because this is kind of basically one of my first variants of the deck, and I started testing out and it was just doing surprisingly well. So, yeah, I encourage you guys to kind of try it out. It definitely makes me really like Genesis because I was not a fan of Genesis. I'm originally an Oracle Think Tank player, and I still consider that my main clan, though I'm pretty sure Bushiroad wants that clan to die out at this point. So, you know, this is giving me more push toward Minerva. As you can see, I open this playmat. I don't open these playmats, but I still got a couple sealed. But you know, that's how much I really like her art, and I mean, just making her an awesome card as well. Props to Bushiroad for that. And, well, guys, it's been Ash from Imaginary Goddess. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.